I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. These words, spoken out over the nation by the face of the acceptance of racial equality, rang out over the ears of thousands in Oslo, 1964, as Martin Luther King acknowledged his Nobel Peace Prize after fighting tirelessly for the civil rights movement. In this quote, where Mr. King so vivaciously describes his dream for the American nation, it is clear that he had copious amounts of hope in his heart, and rightfully so, as only through individuals like these can we hope to bring real change and compassion into the hearts of those who are inexorably cemented in their beliefs. The power of his carefully poised words is striking, as decades later, quotes from his dialogue are used as prime example on the forefront when debating racial equality. Unfortunately, the gravity of the fact is that we are still debating racial equality. The stories of other prominent civil rights activists and figures such as Rosa Parks and Little Rock Nine headlined newspaper after newspaper, article after article, instilling fear of change in the believers of superiority based on something as baseless as the color of someone's skin. White supremacist groups erupted across the nation as those embedded deep within their miscalculated beliefs rose in uproar against the civil rights movement. They wreaked havoc across the innocent and gruesome ways that are still engraved in our history books and in the minds of our elderly. Our children sit wide-eyed in horror as our colored grandparents and great-grandparents recount the stories of their childhood. And this is perceived as an appropriate reaction. Horror, grief, and disbelief, and disgust, as the stories of lynching and genocide from almost 80 years ago are retold. Is it not disheartening for humanity that we cannot say that these are tales of the past? If the naive minds of children can grasp the concept that judging a person based on the amount of melanin in their skin is wrong, then they will surely believe the act of hate crimes and rallying is abominable. So why, in the city of Charlottesville, August 12, 2017, were over 2,000 fully grown individuals assembled for the expression of white supremacy and neo-Nazism? Has the human race still not overcome this obscene train of thought? Are we not in a day and age in which we have realized that collaboration and acceptance is the key to a peace-driven society? Fortunately, uproar was significant. Those of us who felt the events of Charlottesville in a profound way could be seen voicing our anger and resentment for not only outdated Nazism and ideas of racial supremacy, but even Nazi sympathizers. We could be seen comforting our disturbed colored neighbors, and we could be seen marching in protest up and down the streets of our hometown, until our voices were hoarse and our legs were weak. To this, I say amen. To chaos that arose after the murder of Sandra Bland, I say amen. To the turmoil that arose after the murder of Michael Brown, I say amen. We must not be silent as our colored brothers and sisters are mercilessly terminated. We must not be silent as our colored brothers and sisters are denied job opportunities and enrollments. We must not be silent as we witness hate crimes imposed on our own colleagues and friendlies. The deadliness of silence cannot be compared to that of anything else. It is the poison that breeds hate and disguises gruesome operations. Silence is a deadly act of cowardice and of aggression, and it is a dark cloud under which everything that must be exalted withers. So to those listening in today, I urge you to speak out. I urge you to speak against cowardice. Speak for your colored counterparts who are as entitled to a safe childhood and equal opportunities as you are. Whether they grow up to be doctors or lawyers, or caretakers and cleaners, for in the eyes of God, we are all equal. I urge you to speak out, for the crime of a silent bystander is equal to that of the criminal. To my colored equals who are attending today, I stand here to tell you that we can see you. We hear you, we are behind you, we are fighting for you, and you are not alone. The exuberant daybreak of humanity standing in unison remains shrouded in darkness so long as we remain silent. So for you, I promise to speak out. We must raise our voices. We must be angry. We must be heard. As statesman Edmund Burke once said, all that is needed for the forces of evil to triumph is for good men and women to do nothing. So we must renounce and reject the idea that those of us who look different deserve to be belittled and discredited. Together, we must have the courage to push open the gates to our utopia. A utopia in which we judge each other based not on the color of our skin, but the content of our character. We must carry on the legacy of the founding fathers of civil rights. Hope romped wildly in their hearts and perseverance radiated from their chests, and this is the persona that we must pursue. For hope is the only thing stronger than fear. It is our only glimmer of light on our starless nights. We can hope that tomorrow brings the daybreak of something joyous. But for this, we must endure the somber dusk. For if you have hope, you have everything.